Hello and welcome to the Bulletin vlog. I'm Helen McGrath, Head of Public Affairs, and I'm joined by our Bulletin Editor, Dennis Hall.
Hello, everyone.
Now, we've adapted the blog to highlight the big news happening in the local government legal world, together with what's going on in Parliament this week, as well as a heads up as to events and training opportunities with LLG. This is your bite-sized 5-minute roundup. Dennis, your big hitters from the Bulletin, please.
Right. Well, we've covered the topic of artificial intelligence before, from the perspective of its impact on legal roles and also the legal responsibilities that it implies for organisations. But now there's a new concern, that its development has become a free-for-all with no system of regulation in place to meet competing interests and challenges that will inevitably occur. The Law Society want to see urgent action from government to regulate AI development, and they want to see a rules-based system like that being implemented across the EU. Innovation without good governance may equal chaos. That's the message. And there's more on this in Bulletin 25 and this week's Grapevine. And look out too for the voter ID analysis of the last local elections from the Electoral Commission. Helen.
Now, of interest to our Welsh members, described as the biggest step change in community safety in a generation, most streets in Wales that currently have a 30-mile-per-hour speed limit will switch to 20 miles per hour on Sunday, September the 17th. The change comes after 4 years of work with local authorities, police and road safety experts to design a change in law, making Wales the first UK nation to reset the default speed limit for local roads. Meanwhile, coming up in the Commons this week, both the Home Secretary and Secretary of State for Energy Security and Net Zero will take questions. Spending of the Department for Energy Security and Net Zero on energy infrastructure and spending of the Department for Education on adult education, post-16 education, further education and colleges will be subject to debate. There will also be a general debate on building safety and social housing to mark 6 years since the Grenfell Tower tragedy. Now in LLG news, you can book ahead for our National Lead meeting on information management on the 20th of July, or our LLG webinar on how to break the cycle of burnout in your legal career on the 25th of July. Both are free to members. In training, there's still time to book for our Monitoring Officers Conference on the 20th of July, which of course, if you're a Membership Plus member, you can attend for free as part of your package. And now for a sneaky peek at what's coming up in Bulletin number 26. Dennis.
There'll be a post from the AEA next week about reports that forthcoming voting changes are prompting fears among electoral staff about the running of the next general election. They say that voter ID and an emerging staffing crisis are among many issues that are testing a creaking system. And next, the COVID inquiry is underway, as you know. It's looking at resilience and preparedness, and some key senior and indeed senior political figures have now been giving evidence. But what are the 4 main things that we have discovered so far? The answers will be in Bulletin 26 and the accompanying Grapevine podcast. Helen.
Indeed. And for more detailed coverage of the Bulletin entries, don't forget to listen to the Grapevine podcast. So it's goodbye from me.
And from me too.